Welcome to the Explainer. I want you to stop for a second and really think about your current software deployment process. What actually happens when your CI/CD pipeline stops being this static, brittle script that just blindly follows instructions and literally starts thinking for itself? Well, today we're unpacking exactly how artificial intelligence is fundamentally transforming every single stage of the modern CI/CD pipeline. And honestly, the biggest reason we're talking about this right now comes down to a massive business impact projection for 2026. We're looking at a 20x productivity multiplier. Yeah, 20 times. This is completely driven by a shift from manual coding and deployment to what's being called a digital agent factory, where human practitioners essentially supervise a virtual organization of highly specialized AI agents. So let's boot up our digital agent factory and track our code straight from commit to production. Our agenda today: 1. The CI/CD evolution. 2. AI-assisted code and review. 3. Intelligent testing and security. 4. Autonomous deployment and monitoring. And 5. The 2026 business impact. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The CI/CD evolution. For years, traditional CI/CD pipelines have basically been a giant headache of manual YAML configuration files. We all know the pain of one stray spacebar tap at 2 a.m. completely breaking a build. It's just inherently fragile. But the AI-powered pipelines of 2026 are a whole different ballgame. We're starkly contrasting those brittle pipelines of yesterday with context-aware autonomous AI. We're moving from strict, unforgiving code to natural language configurations, from static tests to dynamic reinforcement learning, and from basic rule-based security to semantic frameworks that actually understand what your code is trying to do. Just imagine your data smoothly flowing through these 4 critical stages of the new automated pipeline. You write your intent as code. An AI system reviews it and generates the infrastructure. Another AI dynamically tests it. And finally, autonomous agents take over to deploy and monitor the whole thing. Which brings us to Section 2, AI-assisted code and review. Let's see how these multi-agent systems actually write and review their own infrastructure code. And this brilliantly illustrates the AutoPipelineAI framework. It's essentially designed to completely democratize infrastructure automation. So instead of forcing your team to learn some complex, platform-specific syntax for GitHub Actions or GitLab, you just express what you want in plain English. The AI agents take that natural language intent, thoroughly analyze the repository, and instantly turn it into functional, ready-to-use YAML pipeline code. But how does it do this without human intervention? It's all about an iterative reflection loop. First, a planner agent breaks your English prompt down into structural objectives. Then, an analyzer agent inspects your codebase, looking at your specific dependency files and tools. Next, a generator agent actually writes the code. But it doesn't stop there. A validator agent proactively checks the syntax, and if it finds an error, a reflection router kicks it right back to the generator to fix it. It's a completely self-correcting loop, ensuring the code is fully functional before a human ever lays eyes on it. Moving right along to Section 3, Intelligent Testing and Security, where we replace static rules with predictive AI. Now, what's really interesting about this is how reinforcement learning dynamically optimizes the workflow. Running every single test on every single commit is a huge bottleneck, right? But by treating the pipeline as a dynamic decision process, RL agents can actually decide whether to run full test suites, partial ones, or just skip unnecessary tests entirely based on the commit's risk profile. This dynamic approach boosts your throughput by 30% and cuts execution time by a quarter, all while keeping the defect miss rate incredibly low at under 5%. But let's be real, speed means absolutely nothing without security. And this is a massive number. Integrating advanced AI directly into the pipeline for security reviews achieves an astounding 76% reduction in production vulnerabilities. So how exactly is it hitting that 76% drop? Well, it's abandoning traditional rule-based static analysis in favor of graph neural networks, or GNNs. Traditional tools miss deep bugs because they just scan for predetermined text patterns. This GNN framework is totally different. It converts your source code into structural graphs, semantically analyzing the relationships between code elements. It actually understands the code. In real-world tests, this context-aware model hit an impressive 93.7% accuracy in detecting vulnerabilities, and it decreased those annoying false positives by 41%. Let's shift gears to Section 4, Autonomous Deployment and Monitoring. This is where agents start taking over those dreaded 3 a.m. on-call shifts. We are officially moving past the era of the middle-of-the-night on-call nightmare. Autonomous agents like Datadog's Bits AI SRE agent triage incidents end-to-end. When an alert fires at 3 a.m., it doesn't just wake up an engineer. It autonomously correlates the metrics, logs, and traces. It reads through your company's runbooks, it generates root cause hypotheses, validates its findings, and can even trigger automated remediations. It literally figures out the problem while the human supervisor is still waking up and pouring their coffee. And for regression failures, the speed improvement is just staggering. By applying deep learning and text classification models to completely unstructured log files, AI automatically predicts the root cause of script failures. This cuts the time engineers spend manually analyzing logs by a massive 90%. Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 5, the 2026 business impact. We started off by talking about a 20x multiplier, and this proves the operational savings of that paradigm shift. In a digital agent factory, you aren't just using an AI coding assistant to autocomplete a few lines. You are supervising a virtual organization. A coding agent implements the changes, a testing agent runs the suites, a security agent scans for leaks, and an orchestrator manages the handoffs. By the time you sit down at your desk, the factory has produced a flawless, ready-for-review pull request. And the concrete, measurable improvements are undeniable. We're talking a 62% reduction in manual review time, a 41% decrease in false positives, 90% faster log analysis, and significantly decreased operational costs overall. It's very simple. AI-powered CI/CD is undeniably faster, safer, and cheaper. Ultimately, the real value of an AI-powered pipeline isn't just in the hours saved on administrative plumbing. It's in what that time unlocks for your team. When your infrastructure is self-generating, self-testing, and self-healing, your human engineers are finally free to focus on building core, innovative value. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, when your pipeline thinks for itself, what will your engineers build next? If you found this breakdown valuable and want to keep staying ahead of the curve on how AI is reshaping technology, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Explainer. We'll see you in the next